Tom Ford's Portofino de Flor, lavender, volcano candle, rosemary and thyme. These are a few of the favorite smells of my next guest, Monica Monson. Thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I'm Monica Monson, as you know, and of most recently with the Noble Agency.
Yes, and one of the main reasons why I'm so excited that you are here to tell us about this new venture of yours.
Get ready for the real estate show that takes you across the barriers and into the danger zone. That Bitchin' Real Estate Podcast with your host, Tenacious T.
But before we get into the Noble Agency, I want to go a little bit into your history, into your background, and who you are as a person, thus the smells. Let's talk about Tom Ford's Portofino de Flor. I have never had the opportunity to ingest that scent, so to speak. Why is that one so powerful for you?
You know, there's just something about it. The Tom Ford scents in general are just really beautiful and well designed, so to speak. But it reminds me of Italy, of course, which I have a passion for, and it's in my heritage. So, you know, I just when I was gifted the fragrance, I really just fell in love, and it's sort of become my signature. So,
oh my gosh, I love that. So,
makes me happy.
Yes, your heritage is something I'm very, very curious about. Where did you grow up? Who are your parents? Please share more.
So I grew up in Northern California in the middle of the wine country. And my family, my dad's side of the family is a very large Italian family.
Yes.
So very loud, lots of cooking, and a lot of family time.
Yeah.
And my mom grew up in the area as well, has a smaller family. So we were just had a wonderful childhood there, and both of my parents were very business minded.
Yeah,
which certainly I think fell down to myself and my brother, which was great. I have one brother.
What did they do?
And my dad has his own business, of which my brother and a partner run today.
Oh,
it's a land surveying company.
Yeah.
So they do a lot with builders and developments and cities and governments and things. So
you kind of grew up not only being influenced with the business mind of things.
Absolutely. My mom worked in the college space. So she worked for Sonoma State University and worked next to a dean of social sciences, a very, very bright mind.
So both of her parents are brilliant. So
a lot of work ethic in my family.
Yes.
That's for sure.
So warm family, big family, lots of conversation. Intelligent conversation, I'm sure.
Oh, and a lot of fun.
And a lot of fun.
a lot of Italian hands, you know.
So are you the baby or is your brother?
No, I'm the oldest. My brother is just younger than me, and it's just the two of us in our immediate family. But my grandparents, I have one that was one of 12 and one that was one of 9. So you can imagine how many first cousins my father has. And some of them are almost as young as I am. So
Italian is most of the family here in the States, or do you have some?
Mostly in Northern California. We do have family in Italy as well. And I've had the pleasure of meeting a couple of family members there and traveling, and it's been really a special experience to do that.
Yeah. So in Northern California, in the vineyard community, is that where you came across one of your best friends, Angelica Franco?
Yes. We went to high school together.
Yes.
So, yes, a lot of most of my friends are still, high school friends are still back in California. And I was one of the lucky ones that when I relocated to Arizona, just a couple of years later, she was looking for a new adventure in life. And I drug her out and said, move here. And so
that is so beautiful.
I was fortunate to get her here. And it's been amazing.
I bring that up. I bring up family. I bring up, staying connected with best friends because it is a testament to who you are as a person and in your character and how you value the connection, the human connection. And from what I know about you and what I've gotten to understand is that is the foundation of everything you do. The connection that you have with the client, the connection that you have with your business, and the connection you have with what you're building.
It's so true. I talk about that a lot, especially with my new adventure. I've been really fortunate to be surrounded by amazing people in my career life and in my home life as well.
Yeah.
And so it's really inspiring. And for this next chapter of my life in business, I really wanted to hone in on that and refine that and really have that opportunity to even have richer relationships with those around me. So, I'm always looking at ways I can bring value and I hope that the people around me feel the same way. And so it becomes a magical thing.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
I got into real estate a little over 7 years ago and really had no idea who anyone was. I was just one of those people who are like, I'm going to do real estate. And then I'm like, oh God, real estate's hard. It's not what we expect.
Right.
So yours was one of the names that obviously had already established herself in the business. But the one thing that I found very distinct about you is you were different. Everything you did, from the cookies that you have made for your open houses to the logos to the way you market yourself, always had a little different flair to it. Tell me more about your marketing background.
So that's really my passion. I kind of found my way, honestly, in college. I went straight to a 4-year college, and I thought, I'm going to be a business major, and this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And as I got through, some of the classes and different things, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. And so I ended up shifting gears and went into public relations and journalism.
Nice.
And I love the creative side that can bring. So it kind of parlayed into my first career, which was marketing and public relations.
Yeah.
And I love creativity and strategizing and figuring out, how to brand and how we can bring to life any specific, whether it's a home, any price point, or a project that we're doing. What can we do that's outside of the box, a little more creative? So I really feel like I've brought that to my business life in real estate. And it's been great to be able to do that and get creative with so many, wonderful people in the industry.
One of the things that I often say is we were born to create. We were made in, if you want to get really religious, the image of God, and God is creation. The love that you have for creation obviously has spilled over and is a huge part of what has made you successful. And I want to take a Super Bowl commercial. So the rest of us real estate agents, we're like the typical commercial, that you see in between a show. Yet it's always the Super Bowl commercial that we're always waiting for, because the Super Bowl commercials blow us out of the water. Monica is a Super Bowl commercial, right?
That's so sweet. That is so sweet.
So what
Thank
kept
you
from going from, you're in this journalism and you're in public relations and you're loving the concept of coming up with these ideas to make the Super Bowl commercial. Yet you chose in 2002 to get your license because you saw maybe a connection that you could bring in this magnificent creativity and journalism to the real estate world.
I did. When I first moved out here, I worked for an internet development company. Some of the companies I'd worked for were hospitality related. So one was a Convention and Visitors Bureau promoting the wine country. When I came out here, I worked for an internet development company. And so this is really going to date me, but it was when SEO first came out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing SEO for major hotel companies like Starwood and some companies, Rosewood Hotels and various things. And we were positioning their websites and various landing pages, as we call them now, to rank high for SEO. And so at the time, I was also involved with the investment side of real estate.
Yeah.
And so on a personal level, we had been doing some investments in the area.
Yeah.
And I just started to fall in love with it. And then I started to have children, and I thought, I'm a busybody. Am I going to stay home and be home, or am I going to still have a career of some sort? What does that look like? So I decided to get my real estate license and mostly advised on investment property for a lot of California contacts the first handful of years until about 2007, 2008, when I decided I'm going to go full-time. I love this business. let's really launch a brand.
So let's take note of that real quick. So
Yes.
during the crash, she decides to fully launch into real estate.
Yes, I did. So
Yes.
that was an interesting time. And I haven't really shared my story at that time because it was such a critical time in our industry and for just people in general. I mean, it was so difficult seeing everything that was happening and the hardships that were taking place. And for whatever reason, again, I had been licensed for about 5 years, but I wasn't a full-time agent. I decided to go full-time right then.
Yeah.
And the majority of my business during that time was traditional.
Interesting.
And I thought it was very fascinating.
Yeah.
How am I doing traditional sales
when
during a
everybody
time
else
when
is-
99% of it was short
Yeah.
sales or foreclosure. So it was unique, and I just sort of kind of kept my mouth zipped and my head down and supported everyone as best I could and got through that time. But it was a great time to learn. I think in a challenging marketplace, it's also a great time for opportunity.
Yeah.
And so it really did help me sort of launch into the luxury space.
So you're in this time where you're putting your head down, you're focusing, you're going for the legacy play, you're putting it all in. You figure out a way to get that to work, and you become what I'm personally going to say, I don't know what the stats are, but the biggest name in luxury market, at least here in the Valley.
Oh, wow.
For
Thank
me.
you. Thank you.
When you
That's
think
amazing.
of luxury, it's Monica. It's
you.
grace, it's class, it is the epitome of who you are.
Wow.
But you've had to fight for it. It hasn't been easy.
Nope, it hasn't been easy. It is something that, when I came, I didn't have any contacts. I started from scratch, and I know that's the hardest part about real estate is, most of us are starting from scratch, and we don't have a book of business handed over to us, and it's a lot of relationship building. And the biggest thing for me was, making sure that I was doing the very best work that I could.
Yes.
And building a strong reputation, around my, your word is your God, right?
Yeah.
And so I really, really wanted to make sure that no matter who I came in contact with, whether it was my fellow agents or clients, friends, that I really was going to uphold that certain quality so that I could earn that reputation. And
you stayed true to your
move
vision
forward.
and you didn't waver from it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So having the experience of jumping in and starting a business during a pretty much a disaster in the real estate world, you decide to wait till there's a global disaster to start your next venture, right?
Well, hey, let's just do it again.
Right?
I did it once. Let's try it again. Yes, it was, this has been something I've been dreaming about for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And if you ask friends, a couple of very close friends, of course, that, they would agree that it's even longer than what I admit.
Yes.
But I've always really had a desire to launch my own brand and sort of do it my way. And like I said, I've been very fortunate to be with the best luxury brand in the world, truthfully. And so to get to the point where I felt like it was time for me to peel off into my own vision, it wasn't a decision I made lightly, but certainly the best decision for myself that I've made in a very long time. And it's just so exciting, and I feel exhilarated, and things are going well. And it's just, I'm almost in shock that, it's grown so fast. And so we're really just feel so blessed. It was meant to be.
So again, you're with one of the biggest luxury brokerages in the world for many, many years. And like anything that we start, we can only go so far with a certain, say, company, with a coach, no matter who it is with. You can only go so far. And at some point, the will does need to be recreated.
Absolutely.
In order to flow faster or to get there quicker.
Yes.
How did you come up with the name?
So I really, when I branded Monson Luxury Group at the time, I'm the type that, of course, I researched and we are work in the luxury space, and we understand not only homes, but the lifestyles of our clients. And so I really looked at, from a branding perspective, what are the longstanding luxury brands out there that have just stood the test of time for decades, and what does that look like? What are those logos made of? What do they entail, as far as the look and feel and quality.
Yeah.
So when we created the Monson Luxury Group logo, that's what we did. And so when I was looking at the Noble Agency and trying to figure out, how do I want this to be branded? What's the look and feel that we want?
Yeah.
And so I went through that process again, and we came up with our logo because we felt like it was a great combination of classic, but also modern.
Yeah.
And there's a million fonts out there you can go through,
Sure.
and if you like that type of thing, and
Which,
trying
if
to
you're
figure
creative,
out-
you do.
You do. I mean, we're typeface nerds. I mean, every little thing. So it was a lot of fun, but there's a lot of thought behind it. It's interesting because it is. If you look at it, it's very classic, very simple,
Yes.
very modern. But it was definitely not something that took 5 minutes. It
No.
had a lot of thought behind it. And we're finding, which I think is so interesting, that it is attracting both the mature audience as well as the millennial audience.
Yep.
And sometimes you just don't know which way it's going to lean. I certainly wanted it to be luxury, but not pretentious,
Right.
and very approachable.
When you hear the word noble, it invokes both royalty. You do think of royalty because, that's nobility. But noble to me is value. It is your heart condition. You are a noble person and trustworthy. I think that's where you're finding it is so global in its attraction. And maybe I don't know if you've heard that from an outside.
Well,
but
my group's logo has a crown in it, and so
Yep.
kind of an homage to our beginning
Yeah.
is this crown. And I was trying to figure out how can we pull that into what we're doing here, because that is part of our value. I mean,
Yeah.
our value, we want to be noble. We were thinking that the types of people, are noble partners, our noble agents,
Yeah.
our noble charities, our everything that we do, we want to encompass around that noble.
yes.
And, it's the quality and feeling that we can offer to anyone that we have relationships
Yeah.
with. So, it was very important.
And that goes with the reputation that
Absolutely.
you've built, and you've spent so many years doing it. And it invokes what you want your brand and your agency to feel like to clients and new agents coming in. And also a different perspective that you seem to offer. And again, we can splice this out if I'm wrong. But when you have agents joining your brokerage, you're also teaching them the value of taking the time to explore the nuances of their own marketing.
Absolutely. So what's different about the brokerage is we are a real estate agency and we are a marketing agency. We've taken the two and combined them together. So it's really fun and creative and exciting, and maybe we need a booth like this.
Yes, I absolutely.
or to come here.
I'll
But-
give you the hookup with
Right?
Mike afterward.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's very different from that perspective. And so we are there to not only provide that professional level of marketing and advertising to our clientele, but also to all of our agents. So
Yes.
we're a boutique company. We, we're really, again, committed to that high quality experience
Yes.
and the collaboration among the company.
Yeah.
And so agents will come in, we will sit down with them, do a full strategy on their brand, and
Love
then
it.
provide that support and fulfillment for them as well.
Yeah. And it's so relevant right now, especially for maybe even agents that have been in the business for a while, that brokerages have their tools. Brokerages have tools. But a smaller mom and pop who is already ahead of the curve when it comes to marketing is essential because, as we know, the big box brands,
yeah.
Zillow, for
Absolutely.
instance, is a brokerage now. They are going to pretty much dominate the traditional ways of gaining leads, right? Zillow has been a big connection for agents to get their leads. And what stands out, or probably doesn't even make you nervous, is you've established your marketing, you've established your lead generation outside of having to use any of that.
We have, we're such a niche, and I don't want, again, it's really lifestyle that we're focused on.
Yep.
So it's not a price point. We do have a specialty in luxury, but we sell all price ranges.
Yes.
And so it's really up to that connection with the client and what experience they want to have out of their real estate sale or purchase.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, we have built our own platform and reputation and, I guess leads or prospect avenues that work for us. And a lot of it has to do with, our relationships around the world.
Yeah.
I've spent the last 8 years traveling and participating in different groups. I speak on panels and, I'm on, even through this whole pandemic. I mean, obviously we're all probably zoomed out a bit, but it's been really powerful.
Yes.
So, the key groups that I am involved with on a weekly or monthly basis have been phenomenal. The leads, referrals, I should say, have been amazing. I mean, just in the last 2 weeks, we've been blessed with referrals from Southern California, from Seattle.
Yeah.
We have 2 from Florida. Usually we don't get a lot of Floridians here, but it's been amazing. So we had 6 or 7 referrals from outside the state.
Yeah.
Unrelated to people just coming here. It was relationship driven. So
based on the presence that you have built over the last many, many years, and having
great.
The unique view on what's working in marketing. And it's not even really a job for you because you love the creation part. You love the marketing part. So I can imagine when you're sitting down with maybe an agent that just came into your agency and you're helping them, it's bringing up all those little bubbles of joy as you're helping them create.
Sometimes it's overloaded. Angelica is now my right hand at my company. She's the director of marketing and events.
She's fabulous.
She's phenomenal. Yes, I'm so fortunate to have her. I've been begging her for a long time to come and work with me. And then, of course, the timing with the new company and everything, it just worked out really well. So, the 2 of us together are a bit dangerous. So we can talk and work and, for hours and hours. And we have to sort of tell each other, okay, it's time for you to go home. It's 8:30. So, but it is true. It's something that I'm very passionate about. So it just kind of always seems to come up.
And one of the things that really sets agents apart right now in this, we're going to call it the pandemic world, the world has changed. It will.
Absolutely.
We're not quite sure where it's going to go, but we know what it is right now, and it's changed. So one of the things that you have created is the trust in the consumer being able to reach out to you because they trust you. They've seen what you have done. They've seen your brand. They've felt your reputation. So an agent coming into your brokerage, into your agency, already has that behind them. So there's a true value there when it comes to your social media and marketing, just being a part of your agency.
Absolutely. And it's something, not everyone's comfortable being on camera or posting, quite often. So, we help everyone work through that. We are very big proponents of people being authentic to themselves. I had somebody in today I was interviewing, and she had relocated from Los Angeles, has been in real estate for several years, but she was nervous coming into this market. She thought certain areas are a little bit, maybe a little more pretentious or, have a certain style or you have to be a certain way. And, her personal style is maybe a little more bohemian. Right. Certainly refined bohemian, but, she's like, I've had to change myself to feel like I can fit in. And, we are there to help our agents refine is a big word. And I know I just said that and I've repeated myself, but it is true that any style and any personality, it's, when people want to take it to that next level, it's just those little things that they can do that help. And I told her, I said, there is no way that you should be changing who you are to try to fit in. You need to refine. If you are, aligning with certain things, you have certain goals, then we can help with that. But you need to just take that, and that's your core, and you need to be true to yourself. So, we're really big proponents of that.
Love it.
We're not looking for clones.
That's beautiful. And that is true. I mean, if you think about anything, anyone think about anything that you've done in your life where, okay, I'm going to be the best baseball player ever. Well, you're going to have to refine your skills.
You have
so that you can become the best baseball player ever. That's in anything you do. It's very rare that you just already have all of those skills in place and you're ready just to pop on there and go.
And like I've been in this business a really long time, and there are several people that I admire that have been in it much longer than I have. But I can tell you, we would all agree that you're never 100% knowledgeable about every single thing and every aspect in the business. We're always refining. We're always adding, learning, building knowledge. New things are popping up. So
changing, morphing.
I think sometimes that word can be a little maybe scary to some people and what it might mean, but it's really not. It's just fine tuning and making sure that, whatever you're doing, if you have a goal, that you're going to get there.
Yeah. And let's reiterate, too, that even though you have established yourself as the luxury agent, your agency and even you yourself serve the whole spectrum.
Absolutely. I mean, last year, I gave this example because I've had moments where, I've been talking with someone about their home and they assume that maybe the price point isn't what we would be willing to work with. And that's absolutely not the case. I mean, we had a really phenomenal year last year. My most affordable home was around $400,000 and my most expensive home was just over $12 million.
Yes.
So it runs the gamut. That was, amazing experiences on all levels.
Yeah.
So we really are looking for clients who want to have a very smooth experience, want really high service, want to take advantage of our expertise and, the price point, it's a lifestyle for us. So it doesn't really matter what the price point is.
I mean, when it comes down to it, the process, once you get under contract, the process is the same, right?
Well, the technical part of the process is the same. Absolutely. I think the way that agents handle the process can vary greatly.
Oh, yes.
And so that's where, in our industry, I think you see a lot of differentials because
this is true.
There are ways to manage the process on behalf of the client and
or
they're
pass
already
it on.
stressed. Or, you can either, I've known people who have made the situation way more stressful.
Yes.
That's not our job. We need to be able to manage the stresses and help our clients, feel good through that process of escrow. Absolutely.
Tell me about your boys.
Wow. Well, I'm a mom to two teenagers. My oldest is a senior this year.
Yeah.
And going to be graduating, and my youngest is a junior.
Yeah.
So really, in all honesty, just going through that teenage boy hormonal.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hold on tight and get through it. But just, working through school. I just feel so bad for kids right now. This year's been exceptionally hard on families and businesses, even and kids. But I think especially with kids, having had such a long time where they couldn't interact in a physical way with their friends and then figuring out, going back to school or how to go back to school part-time. It's been a lot. And so, we've certainly not been without some of those ups and downs through the process, but they're doing fine. And,
So you've got
we'll get through it.
Teenage boys. You're a single mom.
I am.
And you're a very busy agent who opens her own brokerage.
Sounds a little
specifically,
crazy.
I saw that your brokerage license was May 5th, 2020.
It was, yes. I know. It all happened so quickly at that moment. Part of the blessings of the year for me were that it actually sped things up a bit. And the timing of, leases and negotiations and things like that were I was originally thinking maybe the fall time frame. It sped it up a little. I didn't even realize it was Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, it was Cinco de Mayo. So we might have fun with that in the future.
There's a really couple really cool features about it being May 5th, 2020. 5 is actually a sacred number. 5 is a godly number. Wow. May 5th, 2020, you add all of those up, it comes to 14, but in numerology, you take it down to one number, that's 5 again.
Okay.
So you have
interesting.
5, 5, 5 all the way around. So a very blessed day. I don't know if you knew that. So
I did
there
not know
you
that.
go.
No,
your whole endeavor has been blessed.
Wonderful.
Right?
Well,
So
yes.
inquiring minds want to know, how many hours are you putting in right now?
Well,
per week.
a lot.
And this doesn't mean that you're away from home, because the beauty of in our business, and you've got an office that you've opened up, so it's a little different, but we are able to be with our family more than, say, a traditional entrepreneur. But how many hours a week are you putting in right now?
An awful lot right now. The startup time frame when we have, we just made an offer out to our 11th agent. So, there's a lot of onboarding and different things. I'm wearing multiple hats right now, obviously servicing my clients first and then servicing the brokerage. So a lot of hours. It's not unusual if, my kids aren't home, that I would be at the office until 9 o'clock, and getting there at maybe 7:30 or 8. But it depends on the day, and usually it comes home with me. So, but my kids, they are my joy. So when they're with me, of course, I love to cook. So I take my break and I go home and I make dinner and
Yes.
do that, spend time with them, and then finish anything I have to do. So, I mean, we're putting in a lot of hours.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to calculate it right
You
now.
probably
I
average.
haven't had a day off in a while.
You probably average 10 to 12 on average per day.
Oh, at minimum, yeah.
At minimum. But it's interesting that you take at least that time to have dinner. With your
Yeah,
kids.
you know, I'm really big on. We were having this conversation the other night, and maybe it comes from my roots and my family time. You know, my mom growing up, I don't know how she did it. Honestly,
Yeah.
had a full dinner on the table every single night as a
Yeah.
working mom. And I remember, and I just thought, how did she do that? And now, you know, there's even more things going
Yes.
on. And I think in a traditional year, you know, families are so overloaded with activities
Yeah.
and whatnot. But it's really important, and I love to make them homemade meals, and
Yeah.
so it's kind of time for me to just sort of reflect. It's feel good.
Yep.
It's good. You know, they're happy, and
It's breaking bread, man.
yeah.
breaking
It's a
bread.
special time to be able to do
Yeah.
that, and I won't
Yeah.
have that forever. So
I love that. I love that. Let's talk about your 5 daily activities. Okay.
Elegance, class, refinement. Tune in next week for Monica Monson and the famous questions.